Believe it or not, this gun right here has never had the full Sunday Gunday treatment, so of course we have to fix that right now. What's going on, everyone? My name is Talon and you are watching Sunday Gunday. I hope you're all having a great Sunday so far. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. You would think after 100 plus videos of Sunday Gunday that I would have revisited this gun that we're taking a look at today. It's probably the most popular gun that I've ever put on YouTube. I mean, it really is the most popular gun that I've ever put out there. This gun never actually had the proper Sunday Gunday treatment. I put this thing together and showcased it in a video over on the main channel, which now has, last I checked, like upwards of 8.5 million views. So people were very interested in this gun at the time that that video came out about 2.5 years ago. We are, of course, talking about my infamous Glock 19 build, and man, there's a lot to talk about here. When I first did that initial build video, I realized that I never shot it a whole lot in that video. A ton of people came to see what I did to customize this Glock 19 to make it my dream build at the time, but I didn't really show a whole lot of shooting. Of course, since then, this thing has been in videos here and there, just some fun days out on the range, and you've probably seen it a few times, maybe on my Instagram. But I decided today it's finally time to give this thing the full Sunday Gunday treatment, and this is basically going to be an update on my custom 19 build that you guys have probably seen a million times. So this is really going to be an off-the-cuff video. I'm just going to give you a breakdown from top to bottom again, everything that I did to this pistol. We're definitely going to shoot it a bunch so you guys can see that, and then I will talk about how this thing has held up after over 1,000 rounds. So this gun started out as a completely stock Gen 4 19, and of course since then it has changed almost entirely. On top I've mounted up an RMR RM07, which is a 6.5 MOA dot. This is a Type 2 adjustable LED, and this RMR is still going strong on its first battery. However, I have been turning this one off when I put it back in the safe for a while. I did use a Trigicon sealer plate on there, so when this thing does get a little bit of moisture in it, should be holding up, and after all these years, it has been. As far as the backup iron sights go, I believe these were Ameriglow sights. It's just a black serrated front post and a completely blacked out rear. Really nothing fancy there, and it co-witnesses fairly well. And then moving down to the slide, this is an Agency Arms Urban Cut. I had this done a while ago. At the time, it was very expensive, and they are still very expensive today. Inside of there I have an Agency Arms titanium nitride coated barrel to match. I would say that that probably has 850 rounds through it, and the entire gun probably has close to 1,500 rounds through it in its entire life. In the grand scheme of things, 1,500 rounds really isn't all that much. However, when I'm out here testing and reviewing a new gun every week, it's kind of hard for me to shoot the same gun consistently all the time unless it's one that I really enjoy, or of course if it's one of my carry guns. Now if I was just shooting this gun exclusively, it would of course have thousands upon thousands of rounds through it. However, that's not the case, at least for this one. Now to match the Agency slide and barrel, there's also the flat face drop-in Agency trigger. I hand fit that one myself. However, if you send a gun into them, I believe they are still hand fitting their own triggers. It's pretty much the same. I've shot both a drop-in trigger and an Agency fit trigger side by side, and honestly, you really can't tell that much of a difference. And then as far as the controls go, the mag button is still stock, and I did put a extended slide stop lever on there. The beautiful framework on here is of course coming from my friends at Danger Close Armament. I sent my frame out to them years and years ago. I don't even remember when it was, but this is what started my relationship with them. I visited them in person last summer out in Colorado, and I've become a huge fan of their work because they are some of the best in the business. And as you can tell, their work holds up because this thing is looking pretty pristine even after all of the rounds. So this is some of their early work, and this looks even better now if you get a frame package from them, but it's their signature brain texture with their super crisp borders, and then it also has a little index point on the left side of the frame. It is undercut to get rid of Glock knuckle, and there's also a shooter index cut underneath the trigger guard as well. Now the only thing that I really changed or swapped out on this gun is the light, of course. I was running the Surefire XC1, I ran into some issues with it and it ended up dying very quickly. Even if I would put a new battery in it, it would sit dormant and draw power from that battery. Ended up replacing that again with an XC1. This is a newer version of it. It's not the rechargeable one yet. Once they release that, I will probably opt for something like that. But I wanted to keep this thing as close to original as possible. For anyone who knows this gun, they know it in this exact configuration right here with everything that you see, so I didn't want to deviate too far from that. Now I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since I've shot this thing. It's probably been easy over 6 months because I've been so busy with all the other guns that you guys see here on the channel. So let's knock the rust off, literally, figuratively. We'll see how it goes. Man, and that just goes to show what you get with very high quality parts like that. I always forget how much of a pleasure this gun is to shoot. I obviously built it to be exactly what I wanted, and the only way that I could even make this more personal is if I design my own slide and put my own texture on it. Everything else on here is what I personally like in a pistol. Do it all pistol for defense, home defense, whatever you see fit. I'm just a really big fan of this thing, obviously. RMR is still zeroed. Man, I love this gun. Let's see if we can run this tree a little bit. Alright guys, back for some of my final updated thoughts on this platform. Now you finally have seen me shoot this quite a bit more. Put about 200 rounds down through it today, and we're probably getting close to 1800. Again, I don't have an exact round count, but I would say that the barrel is getting closer to 1000 now. As far as how this thing has held up over time, mechanically everything on this has been pretty much flawless. Occasionally you'll run into a malfunction here or there. I honestly can't remember a single mechanical malfunction. Most of it is just because of me riding the slide stop. The only thing that really happens from time to time is the slide does not lock back, and that's partly due to my pretty high grip. Other than that though, this thing has been mechanically sound. It shoots great. It's one of my best shooting Glocks, hands down. Everyone always wonders about my obsession with the RMR, and this kind of showcases it right here. This thing has been on this gun for its entire life, and it holds zero. It's still bomb proof. It's just a great optic, and that's why I put them on pretty much everything. You really get what you pay for, and when you put a lot of money into a build like this, it shows. Now the only things that I really had any issue with was of course the Surefire XC1. The early versions of those tended to have issues. They are fixed now. I haven't ran this thing in a low light course or anything like that, but it seems to be much better than the previous version. And the only other thing that I could think of is wear on the barrel. I'll pull you guys in here a little bit closer so you can maybe see this. Internally, this barrel has been great. However, on the top here, this titanium nitride coating has seen some, what I would consider pretty early wear. The coating on both of the corners up here where the slide locks up with the barrel has a little bit of wear on it, and then the top portion of the barrel right here seems to be like rubbed off from the inside of the slide. Haven't actually taken this thing down in a while, so let's do that real quick, see if there's anything going on internally. One thing that I did not mention is that this is a Gen 3 guide rod spring. When you get an agency cut like this, at least in the past, they would include this with a little coupler in the front there so you can run this. It replaces a stock plastic or polymer rod, and that has been flawless ever since. This thing is actually fairly clean because I cleaned it before I threw it in the safe last, but yeah, the coating on the barrel doesn't seem like it's the greatest. However, after so many rounds, really can't complain about it. Other than that, the internals of the barrel seem to be just fine. Accuracy is no issue out here. The trigger feels even better now that it has a ton of rounds through it and it's broken in. I guess I'll show you guys that as well. It's a flat face shoe on here, and then pretty much the rest of the internals are just a stock Gen 4 trigger. Safety blade out of the way, nice flat trigger shoe. This is why I enjoy flat face triggers for the most part. You can get some good leverage depending on where you have your finger on the trigger. I'll pull back until I feel resistance. There's still a little bit of creep. Now I'm on that wall. Nice crisp and clean break. It's a Glock trigger, so I'm not really expecting a whole lot out of it. The reset is great, tactile and audible, and then again, tiny bit of creep. You get that really nice break again. This is something that I became used to over my time shooting it, and I think a Gen 5 would even be a little bit better because the Gen 5 triggers are slightly improved over the Gen 4s. However, since this is an updated shoe, the internals are very smoothed out because of all the rounds that I've put through it. Trigger feels great. So I know this video was long overdue, but I'm glad that I could finally get it out there and show you guys the infamous Glock 19 build out here on the range for a Sunday gun day. If you have any questions on it, you can let me know in the comments down below. Chances are they've probably already been answered. If not in this video, the previous one. I'll also leave a link for that right up here if for some reason you haven't checked that out already. So I think that's all for now, but I will leave you with this thought. What if I did another dream build, but I had complete control over everything from start to finish? If I could have the exact slide barrel combo, the exact texture on the frame, if I didn't have to pick and choose off of a already laid out menu, what would my gun look like? I think we might have to visit something like that in the future. So if you guys are new to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every single Sunday. That's all that I have for today. So as always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.